Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're into Champion Select already between Schalke Evolution and Movistar Riders. The first seed from the Prime League taking on, I believe, the second seed coming out of the SLO. And actually, Schalke in a situation that I don't think they fancied themselves in coming into this group, fighting for their tournament lives in a best-of-1 scenario. Bans coming out thick and fast. A big shake-up in the bans that we usually see. It is going to be the Kalista and the Braum, followed by the LeBlanc immediately, I guess, to kind of remove that from Sertuss, who has been a pretty solid LeBlanc player.
Yeah, it's the most banned champion against Movistar. It's against Schalke is that LeBlanc, because Sertuss is just so good on it. I'm actually really curious about this Braum ban as well, because to me, there's only really two reasons. Well, the main reason why I'd want to ban Braum this early is if you're putting more priority on things like the Misfortune, which Neon is his most played champion in E-Masters. So I'm curious to see whether they actually do go for that. I don't think they'll first pick the Misfortune, but you might see it in this first rotation where they just want to get a good matchup for that bot lane.
Yeah, and immediately it's going to be Syndra locked in. And the thing about Syndra is, like, she's such a good blind mid lane pick. She's generally going to get priority versus almost any other mid laner. And that unlocks your jungle a bit more, unlocks rotations a bit more. So it's just a safe pick. Haven't seen it first picked blue side too much in this competition, but Schalke really want to give Sertuss something that he feels comfortable on. And he's kind of, he was the hyped player coming into this Schalke Revolution roster in the European Masters.
Yeah, for good reason. He's a very, very solid mid laner, and you know, this Syndra pick, sure, you know, the blind, yeah, she's just really strong. Like, you saw so many bans being thrown towards Syndra, especially like in the early parts of E-Masters. She did slip through a little bit of pick and ban every now and then, but here she is claiming her throne again. We've seen a lot of Syndra today already. Let's see it again, and with the Thresh and Ornn answer on the other side, we'll see what Schalke decide to do here, whether they also go for a top, and like, whether they want to pick their bot side or whether they want to go for something a bit different. And it is going to be that Aphelios lock-in, so my Misfortune comment, absolutely put that one in the bin. And this is the first Aphelios game for Neon in this E-Master tournament.
Yeah, and now they have options. They can either take something they feel comfortable in top side, I guess, or they lock in a support that they don't want to get banned away. It will be the Tahm Kench picked up for SirNukesAlot here. So a pretty safe bot lane for Schalke, with Neon being a very, very capable AD carry. He'll get his hands on the Aphelios. Movistar Riders with the Ornn, very, very solid top lane pick. You know, it has very few poor matchups. The guy does half your HP as a tank. So he is a pretty dumb champion all in all. And beansu's going to get his hands on that. And Movistar Riders may be looking for their AD carry. And the Misfortune, while not on the side of Neon, will be picked up for JaVaaa in the bot lane on Movistar Riders.
So you've already got a pretty powerful wombo combo team fight here for Movistar Riders with Misfortune ulti and with Ornn. Something a bit surprising, I suppose, at least from my perspective here, is there's no Senna. So Senna wasn't banned, and she hasn't been picked either. And we've seen a huge amount of priority on that champion so far in E-Masters. Even the last game it was first picked. But both these teams decided, you know what, we don't care about Senna. We're going back to some more traditional AD carry support matchups here. And it's going to be Misfortune Thresh versus Aphelios Tahm Kench.
Set actually made it through to second rotation as well.
Yeah,
and he will go on the bans here for Movistar Riders. So I'm guessing they're just limiting those top lane picks for sleeping on that side of the map. I would maybe guess maybe a Renekton potentially banned away here, something that sleeping does play quite a lot of, and again trying to limit those comfortable matchups that he has into the Ornn. But again, lots that you can still play. Maokai still on the table as well. The Maokai Ornn matchup is a bit resident sleeper, but it is something that we've seen quite a lot of over the course of this tournament, and it would give a solid tank for Schalke, and it gets banned.
Yeah, sleeping loves running Ornn. Loves running Maokai into Ornn. It is that, you know, kind of that chill kind of just, all right, you wanna do Ornn things, that's fine. I'll do Maokai things, and you know, just taking that one away means that sleeping is going to have to mix it up just a teeny weeny little bit. I don't think either of these top laners have played Aatrox so far in the tournament, so I'm curious to see whether sleeping is going to whip that one out against the Ornn. We often see that one as that kind of 1v1 matchup in the top lane, where you can have a pretty decent lane phase and then just keep that pressure going, kind of match each other throughout most parts of the game. Now we're going to see, let's see, that there's been a heavily pinched mid lane pool here. Alright, so we're going into the Zilean instead. Zilean versus Syndra. Cool.
Yeah, Zilean going into the mid lane. I would imagine just to clear waves as much as physically possible. I doubt you're going to be looking for any trades or trying to get up close and personal with Syndra in the early game as that Zilean, but it does come through. They're actually leaving their jungle pick to very late on in this rotation for Eloya. And actually, Eloya is someone that we talked about right at the start of this tournament as being another jungle talent that we want to keep our eyes on. He had a good performance throughout the group stages so far. I think, did Movistar come from the play-ins? I can't, no, that was the Aatrox's team. But yeah, Eloya is a fantastic jungle talent that we wanted to keep our eyes on a lot of the time. So maybe makes sense that they're trying to give him a matchup that he feels super good in. It is going to be the Aatrox for sleeping, and it will be Lurox taking the Lee Sin in the jungle.
So I want to see now. I'm actually really curious what Eloya does decide to go, because there's kind of two avenues here. With this last pick, like, Eloya plays a lot of carries, like even the things like Carthus, for example. Okay, and I was going to say, or you pick something that synergizes really well with the rest of with your team, specifically with the Zilean, and Olaf Zilean, holy moly. Like that is a combo that wants to just run you down. That's really, really powerful, especially into the side of Schalke, where they don't have a lot of escapes on their carries. You know, you've got Aphelios, you got Syndra, specifically those two, but even the likes of like Aatrox and stuff like that. Like, these guys don't have escapes. Like, they rely on their team to keep them safe. And when you've got an unstoppable Olaf, plus that's been mega charged up by the power of time, you're in trouble.
The power of time. I like that. I'm going to use that in the future, Foxy. By the power of time. Eloya will be charged up. I think it's slightly less scary than the Yuumi Olaf combo that we saw Fnatic Rising breakout, but it's still a very scary thing to behold. And you are looking at a super mid-game power spike team here with the Misfortune and the Olaf coming in with the front line of that Ornn as well. Going up against Schalke, they do have a bit of late-game power in the form of the Aphelios, but I kind of want to get your eyes on both sides. I think you've kind of gone through the Movistar Riders composition, but what do you make of the Schalke one?
I think Schalke seems very meta to me, you know, and so team comps like this often, the good thing about meta comps, in my opinion, is that they're quite easy to execute, and they're also reliable. Like, they're not particularly punishing. So on the side of Schalke, like, they have pretty good mid-game things to do, like with the Aatrox and the Syndra, but you've also got some things going on into the late game and ways to play that late game with the Aphelios as well, and a team that can kind of support him and create space for him to operate. I'm really curious this game. What I'm excited about specifically is the jungle matchup with the Olaf into the Lee Sin, because it's not just an Olaf Lee Sin this game. There are huge implications for what this Olaf can then do in the mid game if he has a good early game, and he can become an absolute terror if Schalke don't shut him down.
And there's some grouping up on the bot side jungle here for Movistar Riders, but maybe they were just looking for anybody to step wildly. Nope, they are actually going aggressively into this red side jungle here. Movistar Riders will see that ward. They have kind of committed to this at this point. It looks like Lurox is just going to go straight over to the red buff by himself and take that away. He will be spied out, but it's just going to be a red buff trade for a red buff trade. Maybe some vertical jungling here. Movistar Riders and Schalke already opening up that kind of play.
If you do want to go with some vertical jungling, then for Olaf at least, like, he's very happy doing that if he wants to punish the bot lane, because you've got a good gank set up from Thresh, and you've got some pretty easy targets in Aphelios and Tahm Kench. Like, there's no mobility out of those two, so you can get some nice hooks, nice engages there. And what you normally see out of Olaf is more of like a power farm style. That is something that he's very, very good at. He's very fast at going through the jungle. We saw a self-made in the I don't know if this was in the playoffs or not, but went on Fnatic in the LEC. He full cleared. Like, he legit started topside, took every single camp, and then took the crabs as well. It was like, okay, he just did it, and that's not really something you get away with a lot of times on stage. But Ornn is one of those champions, man.
He certainly is. He takes away the Razor Beaks from Lurox, but Lurox trades back with the Krugs, so they're just going to trade a camp and a buff on either side of the jungle and get out of there to take their blue. Eloya here is going to take that blue and head over these wolves and maybe start a full clear from the bot to the top. Maybe back after these wolves. I don't really know what his plan is following this, but he still has two pots or two procs of his refillable potion to work with, so he should be able to get pretty healthy pretty quickly.
Yeah, Olaf doesn't really care about being low on health in the jungle, because that's the whole thing about Olaf, is you get more attack speed the lower health you are, which is what enables him to be one of the fastest clearers in the entire game. So he's not even using his potions, despite the fact that he is kind of low on health, because he's deliberately trying to stay low. And now when he leaves the jungle, you'll probably see him start popping them a little bit if he thinks he's going to come up against the Lee Sin. After this Scuttle Crab's gone down, because that's when you actually you want health when you're fighting players. Don't get me wrong, but against the jungle, you're okay being a little bit on the lower side.
It is just going to be full verticality here. Actually, Lurox going to head back into... Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it might not mean what I think it means, but it had vertical in it, Foxdrop.
Yeah,
so
I respect it.
It's complete mirroring, by the way, from Eloya and Lurox. I feel like they've essentially been playing a fully, like, if you mirror kind of like straight down the map from top to bottom, they have essentially been playing across that mirror in terms of the camps that they've been taking right now. So neither of them having to alter from their game plan here. Neither of them have kind of strayed from the expected path, as that's a nice little stop onto beansu, who's forced to flash. Lurox takes first Summoner Blood in this this jungle gank path.
And in a kind of slow opening to this game, then that's something, you know. There was a gank and you get that flash out of Ornn. I'm a little bit surprised that Olaf has not decided to go for these chickens as they've respawned. Now that they are a higher level, they give you more golden experience as well. And you know, Olaf eats chickens big time. You know, this is definitely a Kentucky kind of guy. He absolutely loves that camp. They are so easy for him to kill. And he's just opted not into it. I mean, he's going to find himself, like, there's nothing here, buddy. You've already lost it. And he's not going to be very happy about that.
Oh, he got a little bit cheeky outsmart by Lurox there, taking an extra camp away and forcing Eloya to mess up his pathing ever so slightly. No longer is it pathing kingdom for Eloya. He has to deviate and work his way into the blue side jungle here. But again, finding some... He's not even going to go for the wolves. He's about to respawn. He wasn't quite there on timer.
I don't know about this dive though. We already saw a dive go pretty awry today early on in this top side. We'll see if Xico decides to TP into this one. But alright, here comes the minion wave. Is this the dive?
This is the dive. They're looking for it. There is going to be the teleport from Xico coming out, sleeping, trying to duck, tick, dive and dodge away from this, but he won't get it.
Okay.
First blood goes over to Eloya, and they will very happily take that.
Yeah, that was well played. Yeah, not really too much to say about that one. Just good jungle attention to that top side. Get the teleport to back up the dive too. Nothing going wrong in this one like we have seen in the past, but Schalke will respond with the Mountain Dragon, and Ocean will be spawning in 5 minutes.
Lurox tried to reciprocate on the bottom of the map, but JaVaaa and rhuckz able to very happily push Neon away on low HP, and Lurox will just take the dragon and the river scuttler. But still, neutral objective for a dive. Very happy to take that. You'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, we didn't see that, Lurox, mate. We didn't see that key. It's fine. You totally didn't miss that versus the Scuttle Crab. To be fair, I really shouldn't talk. The amount of skill shots I missed versus that thing. Who coded that, by the way? Right, I know you're watching. This is a Riot tournament. Mr. Riot, who did that? Because that's, honestly...
I've seen so many European Masters junglers get trolled by scuttle pathing movements. Like, I saw in the games on, was it Wednesday or Thursday when XL played? I saw Taxa like miss 3 Graves Qs on the like, ridiculous pathing that Scuttle Crab has. It can just troll you like massively.
Definitely.
Oh me, it's been a bit of a quiet. Apart from that dive, it's been fairly quiet in this early game. Like nothing crazy happening. That one dive, and that's about it so far.
Yeah, well, both teams have set up their lanes in such a way that there's not really too much that they need or want to do. As you can see, this is the setup, the lane with the best setup for Eloya here, and if rhuckz can get that flay, maybe that hook. Oh, golly, that's not good. And there goes the kill. Or there goes.
Yeah, he's going to back off here. That's the benefit of having a Tahm Kench on your squad. He will just eat whoever is the target of the hook, and they'll be able to escape scot-free. And Neon will gladly dive into the mouth of a giant toad. What is he, a toad? I don't even know what Tahm Kench is. Like a frog.
So he's kind of, you know, like he looks like a frog, right? But I think he's technically a catfish. You can tell by his like whiskers. I know Ender gets really aggy about this. He's like, it's not a frog, it's a catfish. And so therefore I propose we keep calling it a frog.
Okay, we're going to call him a frog.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's not a frog, then you can't do the unbench the Kench memes or whatever it is. Because there's
exactly.
too many of them exactly. So if he's, I think just by natural proceedings of things, we are going to retcon Tahm Kench and make him a frog.
Yeah, anything that makes Ender upset, you know, I'm all on board for that, you know. Get some camaraderie going up here.
Our fellow European Masters color caster he's getting flamed and he can't even respond.
Poor flame mate.
All right, let's kind of take stock here. I actually just completely missed. That was Movistar Riders picking up the Rift Herald, right? They did get that.
Good. And that is, good. That is this early game advantage from the Olaf general pick. It's kind of hard to really match him in these scenarios. So if you know Olaf's going for the Herald, it's not like you can just collapse and start contesting it. There's really not much you can do. We have had that 8-minute lane swap that we so often see nowadays, where bot lane does go to top side and start taking control of this side of the map. Not just for the Herald, but just overall. And we'll see what Eloya decides to slap down this Rift Herald.
He's going to grab it. Maybe top lane is a good situation right now. They have got a way of working in their advantage. They've already knocked off a plate. But maybe he's looking for a better opportunity, going for one of those potentially guaranteed turret takes. They have another 5 minutes or 4.5 minutes to work with. They don't have any rush in terms of taking plates or getting some kind of gold efficiency out of that Rift Herald. So I think he's just going to look for another opportunity on the map elsewhere.
Ooh, Lurox is going to face check with Thresh here.
Yeah, rhuckz actually going to take that box up and he kicks in. Sertuss looks for the stun, will find it, looking for the final Q. Ooh. The heal will keep him alive. And that played out like a black and white movie in scenes. It really felt like it was a very slow engage where nothing really came of it other than blowing some summoners.
I was a little bit worried there that JaVaaa was going to actually take that lantern and then he'd be in a lot of trouble, but he doesn't. He's all clean, he's nicely done, and the Thresh instead had to blow his flash, but he also doesn't lose his life here. So a pretty kind of timid early game that we're seeing so far. Both these teams are very content. Oh, Xico, mate, you're in trouble.
He's got his ultimate available though. He has got his ultimate available. He will be backing off, but maybe they were just trying to force that out before the dragon fight here, because that is now a big ultimate that will not be available in this second dragon coming up.
Yeah, he's well, he doesn't complete the recall, but he's going to be very low on health. I mean, he can still be useful without it, because he is, he's Zilean. He can do some things from far away, but either way here, let's see what Schalke decides to do.
Does give a level over to Eloya here, which does give him a level advantage. Lurox will be looking for a potential steal opportunity, but they're going to wait until that Sonic Wave expires. Neon jumps in with the Moonlight Vigil. They will get the dragon. The Lantern will bring beansu to safety, and they will get that first dragon of the game, and they will deny the second here for Schalke.
Movistar Riders also win the RNG coin flip. They're going to get an Infernal instead of that Cloud. Now, Cloud does have a lot of value on champions like Olaf, but unfortunately, it's really terrible on Misfortune. The champion who wants to stand still and channel an ultimate, funnily enough, doesn't get a huge amount of value out of a soul that gives you move speed when you cast your ulti. Obviously, move speed overall is pretty nice, but all in all, I think that Movistar Riders will be pretty happy to see that this Infernal has spawned. They'll be able to look to play towards that as a pretty strong win condition. Obviously, Schalke are not going to give it up for free, though.
No, and obviously the extra burst damage is always going to help, especially when you have picks that would maybe, I guess, maybe fall off a little bit compared to what Schalke have got in terms of, especially late game AD carry versus AD carry. That's definitely going to increase the longevity of Misfortune as the game progresses. She does hit hard, I think, through most stages of the game, but they are looking to go for a Rift Herald push onto this top lane tier 1. Nothing that I think Sleeping can do to defend against it, although NukesAlot and Neon are now here. They actually find a kick onto Xico, who's forced to flash across the wall. Lurox looking for the kick, won't find it. He dodges the stun as well. This guy's got fancy feet, baby. And he finds his way out.
And beansu is sitting all on his lonesome in that bot lane, able to get that shove in. So whereas there are 5 members of Schalke on the top side, only 4 when needed from Movistar, which gives them a little bit of an advantage there. And so far, this is just keeping on. It's a bit of a, I'm not used to these style of games in E-Masters. We often see a lot more explosion coming through from teams, and how games, at least at this point, are quite open. Like some more things are happening, but we're just going to be sitting back, playing the patient game here. Not too much happening so far.
Feels very much like the game that we just had between LDLC and Rogue, where, there was swings and roundabouts every stage of the game. you know, one team takes a small advantage, the other team responds almost immediately. And the gold difference right now is only 200 between the two teams. Neon actually taking a huge amount of damage from JaVaaa, trying to pop that wave out. That is a Sonic Wave landing. Another hook comes through. That is the box trying to get the kill as though Lurox jives onto JaVaaa. No way! How? How did JaVaaa escape from the Lee Sin of Lurox? And rhuckz able to clear the wave out under turret. Moonlight Vigil will miss, but he should be the sacrificial lamb as Sertuss has made his way up to this top side of the map.
Yeah, I'm not sure rhuckz is going to be in a happy place right here. But there could be a bit of a collapse here from Movistar. There's Zilean coming up from mid as well.
The Ornn Horn lands. Sertuss now bitten back as Eloya pops the ultimate. Has got the movement speed from Xico. Will he flash across the wall? Lurox actually gets taken out. Xico gets the kill here. And that was a sad sequence of events for Schalke as Movistar Riders bite at the Prime League first seed.
Yeah, and these are only small things, right? The way that this play went down, it's not like this was a big kind of outplay or just getting absolutely destroyed in one way or another. This was a very small minor thing, specifically from Lurox, not able to pick up that kill. But the problem is, this is one game. You have one game right here. To get through the quarterfinals. You lose this one, you are donezo. It all starts with a misfortune ulti, just clearing that mini wave, anticipating the dive. A great Q to start things off. Oh, look, he ward hops and doesn't attack. Oh god, you hate to see it. He just stands still. He just, oh my good lord, it's just painful, man. It's just painful. We've all been there, but you hate to see it. And at this point, because they just dedicated so many resources to the top side, yeah, you're going to pick up rhuckz, but it gives more than enough time for Movistar Riders to respond in kind. Pick up 2 kills.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say rhuckz and JaVaaa played that really well, but you feel for Lurox in that situation. Brilliant Call of the Forge God as well from beansu to actually get a double knock up in that situation. And Lurox does eventually go down to that little combo that you talked about in draft. Pretty disgusting combo that it is. The Ornn and Zilean will just run you through. My word, here we are. Actually, Movistar Riders still don't even have a significant advantage, Foxy. They're only about 500, 300 gold in the lead, so...
Yeah, it's still very close, and, you know, Schalke definitely have tools to play this game as it goes on. You know, like, you've got the Aphelios, which kind of... Aphelios stands by himself, you know, like, he's just a very, very strong late-game carry. But even when you look at people like Syndra, who you consider more of like a mid-game champion... but she also has a lot of late game damage. The problem is in the late game, like in these grouped up fights, it can be a little bit hard for her to reliably find her targets to get out her damage. But when you're looking on the side of Movistar, like, you can pretty much blow anyone up. Like, you're gonna, yeah, the Ornn is gonna be a bit of a problem. But even if Olaf is just running at you, he's gonna be relatively squishy. Like, you might even have the opportunity to blow him up. And that's something that Syndra's gonna have to keep her eye on as this game goes on.
Dropping the Rift Terror mid lane, maybe to create a bit of space to set up for this dragon, although hasn't really resulted in much other than a bit of damage onto that tier 1. Movistar Riders will turn straight on to the Infernal Dragon, and they'll look to zone away with Xico as well. I don't know if Schalke are in the best position to contest this. It looks like they might want to. No, they're backing off here. I think they're going to give out. Again, it's second dragon for Movistar Riders, right? It's not worth that much. You don't want to give your life up or potentially throw the game over a fight that you don't feel comfortable taking.
Pretty crucial there for Schalke to have picked up that first Mountain Dragon when Movistar were diving topside, because it's a huge difference between only being 2, like with the opponent team having 2 dragons compared to 3. There's a lot of talk about the 4th dragon obviously being that soul dragon, and how obviously you should put a lot of respect onto the 4th dragon because you don't want to give away that soul. But for me, I view the 3rd dragon almost as dangerous, as scary as the 4th one, because yeah, it doesn't give you the soul by itself, but it puts you on soul point, which really it spreads you so thin, and it becomes really hard to play against when that 4th dragon spawns, that it's pretty much just baiting you. You have to go for it. Like, there's no option but contesting the 4th dragon, and that can often lead to some pretty bad things if you're not in a spot where you can contest.
It forces you to play a tactical game plan around the dragon, which sometimes you may not be set up to do so. And, you know, end of the day, you kind of have to just make that play. Teleport actually coming in, a big flank play coming out from sleeping as the SirNukesAlot dive comes straight onto Xico. They're actually getting a huge play, and they force out the flashes. A kick comes straight through Xico now in the firing line. That might be all she wrote for this team fight as a whole, as Xico will eventually go down here. The Lantern will not save him, but they take one kill. Doesn't really net them anything, though. They can't really capitalize on this with no major objectives up for play.
Yeah, they're not going to lose a huge amount either. It's just Ornn pushing in that top side. You don't really care a huge amount about him getting some solo farm and XP. He's not even going to go and like demolish that top tower either. So nothing, like, yeah, you dedicate a TP, but you're not going to be punished too much for it. I'm a little bit, so that, about that last team fight, like, I think that Lurox could have done a bit more of a sexy kick there. He had the potential to, like, three players were all lined up, kind of vertically. What was the made up word you said?
I'm sure verticality. I'm googling it right now.
The verticality of the position from Movistar was such that I really thought Lurox could have made something a bigger splash there. But hey, they still get that kill. And,
wait, okay, ready? You ready? I have googled this.
Okay, hit me.
It's not a word. No, it might be. Verticality is an abstract, conceptual, and perceptual construct. Yeah, I'm just going to give up. I might have made a word up.
Mate, man of many talents. You're a host, you're a play-by-play, and an inventor. Blimey, scam. Is there anything you can't do? Speaking English.
I swear verticality was a word. Just as Xico swears that he wasn't in this position just 2 seconds ago, Sleeping is going to find another pick onto the mid lane. He's going to use that ultimate. I don't think his team's going to be able to rally. There is going to be a lantern there available. They're going to try and he does find it, actually. Sleeping will find the kill eventually, though. Eloya is trying to chase them down. Teleport coming through as well. That is beansu. Will have the Call of the Forge God available if he wants it. Sleeping bites back, but...
wow.
That's a lot of damage. beansu doesn't feel comfortable engaging this, and with Neon just pushing a tier 2 in the top lane, Movistar have to back off.
This was so good from Schalke right here. So not only do they pick up the kill, but they also get the teleport out of Ornn. It's kind of like a 4v5 that Schalke come out on top of, but Movistar, they've not had enough.
And I'm going to go on to SirNukesAlot and Sleeping here. That's a big misfortune ultimate. They're able to trade one back, and that will defend the tier 1 in the mid lane. Again, Movistar holding on to a very important turret here, preventing the expansion into the red and blue side jungle for Schalke. And they're actually going to teleport in with Xico, and this might actually allow them to get their own tier 1 mid in response.
Schalke started off, I was really impressed with how they played that. They got a really good advantage from it, but they kind of threw it away a little bit by dedicating a little bit too hard to this mid lane tower take. And they still had Neon pushing in that top side. Like, that in itself is a win, right? Like, you've got your AD carry free farming for a little bit. You're scaling AD carry free farming for a little bit top side. Like, you take that. Unfortunately, just a little bit too much. Too much of pushing there from Schalke.
So we are now, what, 21 minutes into this game. I think it's a good time to, like, take stock, look at any major item spikes, and really talk about how these teams are going to progress as the game goes on. I think there is...
I'm happy you said that. There is one thing that sticks out to me with these items right here. There it is! Do you see that? Do you see that?
Am I looking at the Triforce Olaf?
It begins with, yes, with Tr and ends in... Horse.
I'm glad I chose the right item there, but yes, it is the Triforce Olaf. Talk to me about it. Maybe after this fight, as Lurox jumps in looking for an engage. Oh, maybe we don't need to talk about it. It's just going to be shown to us as Eloya decimates these opposite number in the jungle. Movistar Riders have taken one, but I think they traded 1 for 1 at the end of the day, and Schalke looking to continue the fight in the mid lane. Xico's going to do his best to clear these waves out, but with the dragon spawning, they're going for the third. Movistar Riders just trying to take this off the board straight away. No opposite number in the jungle for Eloya to have a smite war against, and Schalke don't think they're going to be able to make much more happen with this. Though I say that, SirNukesAlot he's pretty antsy to get an engage on. As now JaVaaa caught out by himself. That is going to be beansu using the Ornn horn, but they're probably just going to let JaVaaa die. Although I say that, they overcommitted positioning to Schalke, and Schalke are very happy to try and take this fight more. So I think I'll just be Ornn dying here, as though beansu actually just managing to walk out. I was a little bit over antsy. Although Neon, look at the damage Neon's doing. This fight just feels like it should be ending, but it just continues, and now Neon finds a kill. That's a big stun, but that is it. That was the never-ending fight, like the never-ending story. At the end of the day, it's Dragon traded for a couple of kills, but Schalke might eventually be able to get this mid lane tier 1.
All in all, that worked out really well for Schalke, but crucially, Movistar Riders picking up that third dragon. They're now on Soul Point, and it is an Infernal Soul. Very, very scary stuff right there. And this started with us kind of talking about, or potentially talking about, the Triforce on Olaf. Not something you typically see a huge amount, but it does give him a lot of damage. We're going to see how this fight kind of unfolds straight after the dragon. At this point, you know, as you called it, that's what should have happened. You should just give up Hava here and just let it be, you know, let it happen. Like, he's done so, you run away, you chill out. You do not want to dedicate towards this fight. It's not something you want to do. It's not something you're going to win. Whereas beansu is able to get this ult from Xico, and yeah, you know, he kind of runs away and survives for quite a while. The problem is, like, you're winning this game, you have a very clear win condition, a very simple win condition that you're pretty much steamrolling towards, which is that 4th dragon. And the problem is, you're now kind of making that even like harder for you by giving 3 kills over to Schalke. They're actually in the gold lead now.
Yeah, Schalke is still... I mean, they've got about 1,000 gold lead. And again, it doesn't really feel like any team is opening up a major lead in this game. It doesn't really feel like any team is taking control of this game right now. We kind of expected it. We kind of talked about it at the start of the day that every game today should be close. Yes, okay, some of them weren't so much, especially looking at that first game of the day where Tinks just popped off on Graves, but this is the game that kind of lives up to the expectation of the seeds in this group. They all went for a reason. They're all very equally matched, and I can't really split hairs about who's going to take this win. But before that fight ensued, I kind of wanted to talk about where you assess these team compositions at this point in the game. We're 24 minutes in, we're looking towards our third item for the Aphelios and Schalke. Who is benefiting from the game being elongated at an even gold pace?
I would say Schalke comes out on top of it, but as we say that,
I can't let Foxy talk. These guys just want to fight all the time. SirNukesAlot gets dragged back, Xico picks up a kill, Movistar Riders get another one in the bag, leveling that kill score, and they're going to push down the mid lane.
It's a good thing I'm not paid word per minute, huh? That's cool. So instead, we haven't even touched on the Triforce. It's something we really want to talk about. I'm just gonna really like spark notes it here for you guys. Do not try this at home unless you are duo queue with an airy Zilean mid lane. Okay, don't do it. That's the only reason why we're seeing the Triforce here, really, because it makes you so squishy. It makes you a huge threat. Don't get me wrong, but that has to be kind of enabled by the Zilean. You know, Zilean has to speed you up. He has to be able to put those bombs on you, like the bomb delivery service. You have to be able to eat a revive if you go a bit too deep here. So all things that's you know, you need a little bit of help with on Olaf. Stuff that you wouldn't be able to do just by yourself. Normally we see that kind of like cleaver build instead. But it's a huge like he's so tanky, and when paired, sorry, not tanky, the opposite. He's got so much damage. When paired with Xico, he can really put that out to shame.
So we have the Infernal Drake spawning in just 1 minute, Fox. He's still at a good spike, Olaf, as you were just talking about how much damage this guy can put out in teamfight situations. I mean, this Triforce is still incredibly relevant for him. Combined with the Zilean, he's going to be a real force to work with. What is this a case where Movistar Riders just have to go for it, look for a team fight, utilize their strong spikes at this point in time, and just get that Infernal Soul?
Yeah, I really think that right now this Infernal Soul is absolutely massive, like from both teams' perspectives. Because I think the longer the game goes on, Schalke will be a bit more comfortable. It's really easy for them to play the team fights with like Aphelios kind of like leading the charge. Well, quite the opposite. Not leading the charge, but being down in the back and just pumping up all that deeps. Whereas Movistar definitely relying on these kind of like the spikes of Olaf, for example, and like the strength that they have. Ooh, Xico, mate. Okay, that was a bit scary. Just standing still, opening up right there. But I think, you know, if Movistar don't want to get outscaled this game, they need to take this dragon.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. It's going to give a little bit more longevity to that misfortune, actually forcing Xico out immediately, getting stunned up. The Lantern is there for him. The Ornn coming through for beansu does only hit Lurox, but that is a nice hook onto SirNukesAlot. In the meantime, sleeping, looking for a flank. Eloya already being forced to have that Zilean ultimate placed on top of him, and this is a good fight for Movistar so far because they get the first kill of it. Eloya does get revived as well. Maybe a mistake from Schalke, as it is now a 5 versus 4. But look at Neon. Look at the damage that the Aphelios is doing. He's not getting zoned away from the fight effectively, and Neon is actually single-handedly pushing Movistar Riders away from this dragon. This is so tense. It is Soul versus a denied denial from Schalke, and Schalke still keen to find the 5 versus 4. beansu charges in, immediately NukesAlot just eats him up, and they can't find the space to get into this dragon. They are giving up the soul, and Movistar Riders come away with that infernal Drake in pocket.
Man, that was so close as a play as well. Like, Schalke were really almost there. They were almost able to deny that dragon right there and take that team fight, but just not quite enough. You know, the Movistar Riders have been able to build themselves up with this early game comp, with this, well, honestly, a lot of it comes down to the bullet time and to Olaf as well. This whole thing starts off, like, watch Eloya here, because this is the weakness of what this Olaf can do. So because he just goes by himself, he almost instantly dies, and it does then mean that Xico has to pop his ultimate on him. And like that's the problem. That's good. Keep my looks as well. Like that is an issue. But the thing is, like, at this point, you just lost your top laner. Like, you have no Aatrox. You're just trying to stall. Neon is able to put out some deeps, but it's not quite enough. He's not quite got that 3 items yet. He's not quite at that point where Aphelios really starts popping off. And you see Movistar just able to edge it out just a teeny weeny little bit, but my goodness, is it close.
You know, you said that kick. Yeah. That kick was I think that kick actually gave Movistar Riders the fight, because it actually killed,
yeah, you're right. It reset.
It killed Eloya in the Zilean ultimate and gave him about 60% of his HP back, which I think he was expecting the Zilean ultimate to drop off, and he would have got the double kill there, or at least, you know, find the kill onto Eloya, but it just didn't work out that way. That was a bit unlucky actually for Lurox, but it did actually give Eloya a huge amount of HP back in that fight, which may have set them up to take that dragon much more
honestly, that's a really
readily.
Good point. I actually agree with you. On reflection, like, yeah, if Olaf doesn't get that revive, then he's on, you know, 10-20% health, and suddenly that honestly could just look a whole lot different. So yeah, it was a good kick, but yeah, not really what Schalke were looking for.
Just slightly mistimed. beansu teleports in, Call of the Forge God. Where have I seen this story play out before? As NukesAlot gets pushed away by it, and immediately look how low Eloya gets. You just talked about how awkward it is for the Olaf. He doesn't have the support, and though it doesn't matter because JaVaaa suddenly putting out the deeps.
Gosh.
Neon is here, but he can't find the executes that he needs. I think rhuckz is just going to go down. Movistar will just have to back off, taking the 1-for-1 trade. So NukesAlot dives in, tongue lash to slow down beansu, but Neon has smelt blood in the water. He wants to find the kills in this fight. Unfortunately, they're finding it difficult to chase down beansu. They will be forced away, and it was a close engage, but a 1-for-1 at the end of the day.
You're seeing it perfectly. Eloya without the backup of Zilean is just really not that useful. Like, he runs towards the enemy team. The enemy team's like, you know what, go away, you're annoying, you're irritated, we don't like you, and then he has to run away with his tail in between his legs. He really is incredibly reliant on that Zilean, and in that fight, Xico was completely the opposite side of him. They have to make sure that they're keeping that coordination. As you're seeing here, this is the TP flank starting off by beansu with the Ornn horn, and then watch some of the members of Movistar run up towards here and some run down, which already means it's a split fight. And like, look at that. You're just not in sync right here, which means that you are able to kind of punish this from the side of Schalke, because when Aphelios arrives on the flank, and they're not in a great spot, they can't all turn on him. And Neon is going to get scarier and scarier as this game goes on, and you're already seeing it. You know, you're seeing kind of glimpses of it so far, and you know, he's now at that 3-item spike, like, you know, isn't it?
It's 100 gold, 200, like, negligible between these two teams at 31 minutes into the game. The soul has been picked up from Misfortune. It's giving her a bit more longevity. Neon is obviously now a 3-item spike, picking up the Bloodthirster to give him some sustain in these fights as well. Honestly, I can't call it either way. I really do think this is going to come down to how these team fights are played mechanically. It's really going to come down to those micro errors or micro advantages that you can pick up in these situations. It's such a tense game. Remember, I kind of want to remind you of the stakes. This isn't just a random game in the European Masters. The winner goes through to the quarterfinals guaranteed, and the loser is out. You get sent home if you're not already there. This is a really big game for both these teams and these regions, especially for the SLO, who don't have a seed left in the tournament, you know, apart from Movistar Riders.
Movistar don't win this one, then Spain is done. And Eloya, speaking of being done, got to be a little bit careful there, has the Thresh lantern to get out. Xico, my goodness, Neon he's come online. This is terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
I mean, that's a Aphelios. You give him too much time, he just kind of does that, right?
Absolutely. Okay, bit of a collapse here maybe from Schalke. Thinking, getting a little bit hypey here.
It still does feel like, I mean, Sleeping does feel like he's got that edge in the beansu match of just pushing in constantly. I mean, you kind of expect that as the Aatrox, right? You're going to be able to push in for the most part. But yeah, honestly, I cannot call this game. It just feels so close. Elder is spawning in just 58 seconds, and beansu is ready to set up the fight. Not the best Call of the Forge goes. It gets stunned up by Xico. Xico actually getting pulled up, and Neon will dive away with NukesAlot there, saving him. The Tahm Kench coming into effect so many times this game, but taking a lot of HP damage in the meantime. And Movistar Rider is going to use this map advantage and the position to go and set up for Baron.
Yeah, it was a good time engage because Sleeping actually went bot side like just a little bit before, and that's really not great because you have no TP, and now, oh my goodness. Okay, they're snuffed out. They see that they're not actually on the Baron. They could be nearby. Schalke might actually decide to take this one. This could be an okay fight. There's no Ornn.
No, and Tahm Kench, SirNukesAlot just there. He's actually going to pop in with the ultimate. Suddenly Schalke looking for some kind of edge, some kind of flank, a way into this team fight that makes sense versus Movistar Riders. But again, no one willing to take that play, no one willing to commit to the 20%er. They only want the 100%er, and with the stakes on the line, who can blame them?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're legitimately, as you said, if you lose this game, you are out. And for either one of these two teams, if they went out in the group stage, it would be a big disappointment. So you don't want to be the one to lose your team the game, you don't want to be the one to pull the trigger, but by doing that, you're also leading to, you know, a bit of a game like this.
Moonlight Vigil not as effective as it could have been, was just used there, Sleeping already popping his ultimate too. This is the Elder Dragon building up, and as the health bar goes down, you can't help but feel the temperature of this fight boiling over. It's going to be a close one as Eloya already forced back. JaVaaa taken very low as Sertuss now the target here. The Zilean ultimate has been procced onto JaVaaa, who's forced away. They're maybe not going to get the maximum use out of that. And Schalke setting up for the Elder, forcing Eloya away. Sleeping going for the 1v1. He's going to take out the enemy jungler surely as the blast cone just popped out. The ultimate from Misfortune coming through. What the hell is going on right now? The shutdown is there. Lurox taken low. And this is Schalke's fight to lose, you feel, as all of the carries stuck right in the middle of the jaws of the Schalke beast. Lurox still available, Sleeping still up. The Elder Dragon will be confirmed. Schalke bite this Elder Dragon, they take it off the map, and they take a big objective to boot.
The question is, like, are they going to look towards this Baron now as well? Reset and maybe run towards it. You got some death timers, but my goodness, even if you're only sitting on this Elder Dragon, what a big play this was for Schalke. Because if you lose that Elder Dragon, pretty much game's over. Like, you don't like calling games before they're done, but that would have been pretty much the death knell for this squad here. And it all starts like this is what the problem with this Olaf build, right? You have to sit on top of Xico. You have to. If you like, look this whole fight really is just Eloya versus Sleeping, and because Schalke are allowed to play this one a little bit slow, like it was a good catch by Sertuss as well onto JaVaaa there. Like, it's just like, this is it. This is the problem, right? You're now being outscaled. This Olaf with this build isn't useful in the 1v1 versus Sleeping. He generally just dies, and there's nothing much for you to do, you know? Like, it's so tough to play this one right now. You have to be able to use your team's synergy to win these team fights, and honestly, outside of the early game, Movistar just really have not been able to do that.
Schalke, I think they don't get the Baron. I think Baron's still up and available, but Elder Dragon is definitely very scary. No way that you want to engage in a fight when the Elder Dragon is up for Schalke right now. But that might give them some time to set up for this Baron, force the play, force the 5v5, and bring Movistar Riders into the realms that Schalke feel comfortable fighting in. They've also got, I mean, they're just going to go for it. I mean, they've got Aphelios at the end of the day. That's going to go down like butter.
Yeah, so Movistar Riders, I'm assuming, have made a conscious decision to give this one up. They must know this is happening, that this is not too surprising for them. I think they know, you know, with that Elder Dragon, that they're not really going to be able to win this fight. And now, honestly, the game is looking really tough for Movistar. Like, Movistar were in a bit of a driving seat throughout the early game, and they've really relied on the snowball of this kind of like Olaf Zilean especially. And if you watch like any of these team fights from like 25 minutes onwards, Olaf has done nothing, like diddly squat. He's really been unable to affect any of these fights, and that's just, you know, it's difficult, right? Like it's hard to execute, and if you are able to execute it, it's devastating. But in situations where you can't, then you end up in, you know, like a game like this where you're not able to really offer a huge amount to your team. Whereas Lurox, who was a little bit behind early, can still peel for his team and can still be useful just for his utility.
Yeah, Olaf doesn't really have a button that isn't go. There isn't really like a peel back. There isn't really a let's take it easy. He literally just has a go button. And if you aren't in the aggressive driving seat position, like, it feels really bad to play Olaf in those scenarios, because you try and run at the enemy team, but then you're just going to die. And especially, imagine running at that Aphelios with this Olaf build now. You're just going to die before you even get to him most of the time. You can see Schalke very confident pushing up in this tier 2 in the mid lane. It still is moderately close in terms of gold, but you really feel like Schalke have entered the late game now, where Neon is starting to take over. The damage is going to be insane. In terms of direct damage output of Sertuss, he has way more utility in that front, and you just feel like JaVaaa has kind of missed his mark in terms of where he can impact. He'd need an unbelievable misfortune ultimate to turn things around right now.
Yeah, at this point, especially because just with Aphelios being Aphelios, the fact he has Bloodthirst as well, having that shield up means that even a good misfortune ulti, you're not really going to dent his health bar too much, and then he'll just be able to life steal it back up. So, alright, here's the engage. Let's see if they can get a combo.
The misfortune ultimate comes out right now, but it's just enough to ward Movistar Riders back. No one willing to take the huge fight right now. Schalke just trying to push onto this inhibitor. They do get a stun onto Xico, but look at how edgy everybody is. No one wants to make a mistake when so much is on the line in these fights.
See, I think this is part of the problem though, especially for Movistar. It's like they had to do something. Like the onus was on them to close this game out, to make something happen, and because they weren't able to do that, maybe they were just being a little bit timid. Now they're in a position right here where Schalke doesn't have to do anything, and they automatically win.
Yeah, beansu was just looking for it. You could see he was just trying to set up a queue to get the charge down, but just wasn't working. The team wasn't on the same page, and beansu then looked for it and missed, and then the team couldn't follow up either. JaVaaa just looking for a hook, and sleeping misses. Again, like you said, like Schalke don't need to do anything right now. They automatically win in this situation. They're actually going to kick Lurox away. That's the ultimate popped, and now Eloya is going to be even more useless in these fights because he doesn't even have his ultimate available.
Yeah, definitely take that one, and Schalke just keep on pushing. The base keeps on getting destroyed.
Neon trying to go head first into that composition for Movistar Riders. Sleeping is going to do the rest of the zoning himself, and Neon gets eaten up by the Tahm Kench. Here is the Call of the Forge God. It is a good one with the Misfortune Ultimate comboed on top, but the damage just isn't there right now. And Movistar Riders cannot find the final blow onto anyone from Schalke.
Yeah, it's Neon a bit far forward there, but that is the benefit of drafting Tahm Kench with these kind of champions. Is that you can play pretty safe, and those the sirens coming through for Movistar, you got to be careful. Like at this point in the game, it's really tough. There's only one lane left for you to break down if you are Schalke, so it makes the game pretty easy to play. Like you're just gonna focus on this Elder Dragon and then just all group up, and Movistar, they've got to pull something out, because this could be a 30-second game, and then it's all gone with this Elder Dragon.
Yeah, look, I want to reiterate that not only is this important for both of these teams, but if the SLO and Movistar Riders lose this, they have no teams in the quarterfinals. I don't think that has ever happened at a European Masters. I don't think the SLO have failed to get a team out of groups since the inception of this tournament. For them to lose every single seed from the play-ins and the group stages, that is huge for a region that we 2 years ago considered the strongest region by a significant margin. How the other regions have caught up is just incredible, but Movistar Riders, they need to win this not only for themselves and their position in the European Masters, but for the SLO and the Spanish region as a whole. Because it would be devastating to lose every single team at this stage in the game. beansu pops the ultimate. This is the fight that's going to make or break this game, and everybody on Movistar Riders boxed in. That's going to be an Elder Dragon secured for Eloya, and now he finds the aggressive play. For Spain on his shoulders, he throws those axes and takes those swings, and that is a big win for Movistar Riders just when they needed it most. Is this going to be enough to end the game, though? They have got inhibitor minions pushing into their base. I don't think they're going to have the opportunity.
This is massive for Movistar right here. I have no idea how they won that team fight and how they're able to secure the Elder Dragon, but second Elder especially is even stronger. Plus the fact you've already got the Infernal Soul. This Elder Dragon is hella juiced up for Movistar. And honestly, like, my goodness, what a time to whip it out. You are building that up perfectly. Spain as a region is not only one of the most historically dominant regions that we've had at EU Masters, but passionate as well. There are so many Spanish fans that are just absolutely bonkers for their teams. And to disappoint them by not getting out of group stages, I feel like that's an extra bit of pressure that's being put on Movistar. But they've said, you know what, we'll take that pressure. We're absolutely fine with that. And they're going to jar their way down to this Baron here and look to pick it up as well as this Elder Dragon.
But again, as we said, that in any other situation with inhibitors up and minion waves in their favor probably ends the game for Movistar Riders. Although speaking of, Neon and SirNukesAlot are going to catch out beansu here. No. Actually, Ornn doing Ornn things, looking for an opportunity to get some damage down onto Neon. He's going to try and dive away with no flash to speak of. This should be the top laner from Movistar Riders dying. However, you can just see the rest of Movistar Riders rallying around that death. Xico just looking for a double stun, but nothing else will come of it.
Okay, so they always get one back there for Schalke. You know, Schalke just really want to buy some time at this point. They want to wait out this Baron buff, wait out that Elder Dragon especially as well, and just, you know, you definitely don't want to find Movistar at this point. So if you're able to make a pick, especially this late into the game where the death times are pretty high, then, you know, you have bought yourself a little bit of time there, and that is very, very handy for Schalke. At this point, though, it's just, oh my goodness, I'm still a little bit shocked at how any of this went down. So, all right, cool, we're gonna see it again. I'm really not, like, I'm not sure how this happened, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, they're all in the pit together as well. Like, surely you can just, oh my goodness, yo, Neon gets bopped. That's the Misfortune ultimate, just absolutely shredding through him. I didn't even see that the first time around. That was a perfect ulti by JaVaaa there. Takes Neon out of the fight. You know, we've been talking about the scaling of Schalke, and a lot of that conversation has been directed towards Neon, towards that Aphelios, and when he just dies, he just goes down instantly. Well, that's your scaling gone, and suddenly you lose the team fight, you lose the Elder, and my goodness, this game is just insane.
It's a bit less cut and dry than we sort of thought about when it comes to scaling. Like you said, you know, it does come down to how you play these teamfights mechanically as well. The burst is still very strong from Misfortune, you know, especially with the Infernal Drake on top, and with there being limited protection for Neon, you know, except for SirNukesAlot. They find that burst onto him, then, as you said, that's it. The late game power of that composition is kind of done. Neon is the late game power of Schalke right now. But look at this. I mean, we are now 45 minutes in. We are staring down the third Elder Dragon spawn of this game. The third Baron on its way as well.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
This is absolutely crazy. Something we haven't mentioned about the scaling is obviously Ornn being in the game, you know, with Ornn items coming through will take the edge off a little bit for Movistar. They still have that Infernal Soul, which I think we've kind of forgotten about. Not forgotten about, but, you know, it's been one of those things that's almost been overshadowed by the fact that Schalke was still able to win those team fights. And, you know, for Movistar, this Zilean sound effect, by the way, is kind of like has no cooldown at this point, and I'm just constantly hearing that like whizzing sound around as he gives move speed to his otherwise pretty slow teammates.
Oh my goodness, they're pushing down the bot lane, and sleeping on the top side of the map is going to have to respond to this at some point, because Movistar very keen to try and make something happen. beansu has seen that teleport, and he's going to try and get this turret off, just using that ultimate to buy space. Eloya taking the low as here comes the flank coming up from sleeping. Is he going to find an opportunity to get into the fight as the kick goes into beansu? Maybe not the target that you're looking to isolate. He's still very beefy, and the rundown happens from Eloya trying to go toe-to-toe, but you can't go toe-to-toe with the Aatrox. He's just a monster, and JaVaaa already taken very low right now after running with their tail between their legs. I don't think Schalke can follow up on this, and Movistar Riders get out with just taking the inhibitor turret.
That's a little bit of a sobering moment there for Movistar, though. They were in control of the last kind of 5 minutes of this game when they took that Elder Dragon play. They got the Baron as well. But there is a reminder there. Okay, Neon is still incredibly dangerous. We still have to respect him, and we have by no means automatically won this game. These team fights are still going to be very, very tough. As you said, Elder Dragons being huge in this game so far. We've got another one spawning at 40 seconds as well. This will be the third Elder Dragon of the game, and I don't even know how this game is going to end, honestly. Like, I just can't imagine it. I feel like we've seen it all this game so far, and I've just lost my ability to predict what's going to happen here.
Again, I think it really just comes down to how these individual teams decide to or at least mechanically play. it really feels like it's going to be micro-based decisions in these games right now. One team fight either way is going to swing this game into a victory. It's that stage right now. Death timers are just that long, and so many structures have been eliminated from the map. It really will just come down to those individual micro moments in the team fights to really make the difference here. And it is another Elder Dragon start. The kick, the pull on to SirNukesAlot, already taken low, but immediately Lurox dives in. Not the pull or the kick you were looking for. And that's a big defensive tool dropped now for Schalke. Although immediately a big stun onto Xico. Has to force to use the ultimate on himself. Harvard on the backline, trying to go toe-to-toe with Sleeping. And again, this is so tense. That's a huge misfortune ultimate. It's zoning away the majority of Schalke, but Neon, Moonlight Vigil, goes awry. It is a 5 versus 4 right now. Low health bars across the board. You can see beansu unwilling to take that frontline position. There's a redemption coming through. It's going to regain some health at a much-needed time for Movistar as they try to go for this Elder Dragon. Another redemption coming through as well. They'll take that there. They'll take the health. They're going for the Elder Dragon. It's Lurox, the hero. Can he make it happen with 3,000 HP? And again, Neon pushing forward, looking for an opportunity as Eloya is dragged back with that Zilean ultimate, trying to go forward. The Resurrect will be there. But look at the Elder Dragon, 2,000 HP stuck on that amount for such a long time. As rhuckz, he goes for it, but the cleanse from the QSS is there immediately. The Elder Dragon has now been stopped, and that is now the rundown coming through. A double Resurrect is there, and the double bombs will help secure this fight for Movistar Riders. The SLO team, the second seed, are on the brink of taking this game and getting into the quarterfinals.
The question is here is, do they decide to go for the Baron, or are they just going to run it down? The defense timers are very high at this point. Almost a full minute to play with. You can see by these teleports, they're looking to do something kind of aggro here, and they've got to wait for that minion wave, but I'm not sure that Schalke can really defend.
They've just got Neon, SirNukesAlot, and Sertuss. A good stun, potentially win this fight for them. They could get some burst onto a key target, but Movistar Riders, they want to utilize the 30 seconds that they have. They're trying to push and end this game in a 5 versus 3 scenario. The Ornn coming through. Sertuss will be the target as he gets knocked up and eaten up, but Neon gets blown into the floor. The SLO will find a seed in the quarterfinals, knocking out the first seed from the Prime League. And what a result for both Movistar Riders and Spain.
That was such an insane game. That has to be the most hyped game that I think we've had in the entirety of the E-Masters, and it was very fitting for a tiebreaker game between the German region, the Spanish region, and hey, we're not going to have an E-Masters with no Spanish teams coming out into the quarterfinals. Movistar Riders, the second seed of Spain, they're going to be able to pull through.
I'm actually quite literally shaking at how that game went down. It was so tense for about 20 minutes. Look, I need a breather. I think Foxy's going to need a breather. We will analyze as much as we can of that after a very short break.
Magic. 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 Magic.
Vous comprenez maintenant pourquoi j'ai créé la Magic? En un clip, vous devenez Magic.
La monture avec ces 2 clips pour 149 €.
C'est Magic.
Dispositif médical.
This is my creed. The boots that make me faster. The items that make me stronger. The potions that I drink. I get the best to be more powerful, so my champion rises to the top. But all this leveling up means nothing if I don't level up myself. It's the healthy potions I drink in real life that make me stronger. Because you can only rule the game when you realize you are your most important champion. To play like a pro, eat like a pro.
Time for a true display of skill.
My axe is ready.
True strength.
A gift from me to you. Ooh, ooh.
Another soul lost.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
You stay on my mind, think about you all the time. Got to get to know you well. If you kiss, then I will tell. You stay on my mind, think about you all the time. Got to
Hello, good
get to
dude.
know
Come
you
on.
well. If you kiss, then I will tell.
Okay.
You stay on my mind, think about you all the time. Got to get to know you well. If you kiss, then I will tell. You stay on my mind, think about you all the time. Got to get to know you.
Welcome back to the European Masters. I almost don't feel like that was a long enough break for me to catch my breath. What an incredible game. Movistar Riders and Schalke and Evolution. But Movistar Riders take the win. They get the seed for the SLO. They get the Spanish team, or the only Spanish team to get a top 8 place here in this European Masters. And it was an absolute banger of a game. Like, what, 50 minutes nearly? 3 Elder Dragons, almost 3 Barons. That was just incredible. Foxy, I don't even know where to start. But let's try and reflect on that game. I guess a lot of these Elder Dragon fights were so key.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This game really started off with Movistar Riders being in the driving seat, but then Schalke really bringing it back. Like at this point right here, what you're seeing, like Movistar are already on the back foot, you know, and this is where Schalke's able to bring the pain to Movistar, because they put a lot of a lot of focus on this Olaf and the ability to kind of like run around with him, but he wasn't really able to do too much in that mid game, which worked to Schalke's benefit. But you know, this replay may look good for Schalke, but unfortunately it's going to be the only Elder Dragon replay that does look good for them.
Yeah, I think this is the first Elder Dragon that went down. This is the second, I believe.
Yeah, watch Harvard
again. Yeah, it's about Harvard and his ultimate.
Yeah, so this is where the two AD carries, Harvard and Neon, you want to keep your eyes on. So Neon is like kind of tunnel visioning into this fight, because I think the whole of Schalke is getting really kind of panicky about, yo, we have to contest this. And when you're feeling under the pressure to contest something, especially when it's in like a small area like the Dragon Pit is, then you kind of bundle into it a little bit more and you stop respecting stuff that you shouldn't be standing in, like the Misfortune ulti, and that MF ult right there on Neon literally just one-shots him. Like just one combo, one channel of that Misfortune ulti brings Neon down. And that's really what enables his Movistar Riders comeback from, honestly, a place where they probably shouldn't have won. Schalke were looking really in control, and this was the third Elder Dragon fight. It's not often you get to say that. Well, you've already lost SirNukesAlot. Like, he's not in this fight. He's gone down. He's in the Shadow Realm. And this is the second Zilean ulti as well, by the way, that Movistar Riders put out here, which essentially just works as a full heal both times. And just, yeah, it was so cool. 86 damage.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't even see that. Heartbreaking stuff for Schalke.
Yeah, it was a game of inches, though. I feel really bad for Schalke, because honestly, that was a game where I really feel like I wanted both teams to win. Like, I really just wanted both of them to win there. But it did come down to execution, you know, mechanical execution in those late game team fights. What I really loved about what Eloya did there is he ran forward. I think he was intending on getting himself killed by the Elder Dragon, but Neon did it for him, and then again he rezzed with like almost 100% HP. And then he was back in the fight, and that kind of gave a good spot to try and smite that dragon down. But look, we need to talk about the next matchup now. We obviously could spend an entire broadcast just looking at that game. But let's take a look towards the next. Kick Neosurf versus Movistar Riders. Both of these teams have qualified. It is essentially playing for seeding right now. How do you see this matchup going, based on what you've seen from both of these teams?
This is, well, I want to say based on what we saw from Rogue and LDLC, like, these games are just crazy today. Like, these tiebreaker games, they're really living up to the hype that you expect from tiebreakers, where obviously you've got a bunch of good teams going up against it. It's the reason why they are tie broken at the end of the day. And, you know, Movistar Riders, so what I liked about the way they won last game is that, like, traditionally they're quite an early game team. Like, the average game time is like around like the 28-minute mark. You know, Schalke's more like 34, 35. However, Movistar, despite having the early lead, kind of playing towards that and trying to snowball off of that, still won late game. You know, like, they really kind of, I guess in a way, shouldn't have won that game. Not that they don't deserve to, they absolutely do. But the fact they managed to still win that gives a lot of, it really shows the strength of that team for me. And I think, you know, going up against Kick here, I think I'd be very scared if I were Kick, honestly. I'd be pretty terrified.
Kick came from the play-ins, right? So they kind of worked their way in from the play-ins at this point in time. They're an incredibly storied team from the Polish region. I'm just having a look at the stats, and I kind of want to just paint this picture for you. At a goal differential, an average goal differential at 15 minutes for Kick Neosurf is 2,200 compared to 800 of Movistar Riders. That story tells me that when Kick wins, they win really bloody hard. Like, when they do get a win, they're actually just stomping it by the time that 15 minutes comes around. So they're a really confident team in their wins. I think this game is going to be explosive. I've actually really liked what I've seen. And again, you know, we talked a little bit previously about a full, you know, we've had people like full Czech teams playing. This is a full Polish team. Every single member on Kick Neosurf is Polish in the Ultraliga. Ibo Schlatter, Matislav Pukistal, and rhuckz are all Polish players. And again, two of our Ultraliga teams have already qualified now to the quarterfinals. This is an incredible showing for the Polish Ultraliga, proving that they are an incredibly strong region once more in the European Masters. This is going to be a really, really, really intense early game, I feel, because of the way that in general, this roster tends to accelerate their leads.
Yeah, this could be like very, very explosive, as you say. And just to put some context to those like game timers, 28 minutes for both teams. These are two of the three fastest teams in the entirety of EU Masters. Like, these guys hold no punches, and as you say, with that goal difference as well, you know, they win hard. they crash and burn hard. But it's definitely going to be one of those games where keep your eyes on early. I would be surprised to see a 50-minute slugfest like we just did before.
All right, guys, we're going to cut to a quick break. When we're back, we will be diving into Champion Select for our final game of the day. Remember, both of these teams have already qualified, so we're purely playing for seeding, exiting Group C. Will it be Movistar Riders or will it be Kick Neosurf taking that first seed spot? We'll see soon.